Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki Cluche, and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go.
We are back with season number 2, and today is a historical show because we have the first ever male on this show, and I honestly could not think of a better person to pick for this, to have join me today than one of my former coworkers, Sheridan Taylor, an absolute gem of a human being. We were in corrections together for many, many years until he decided to up and leave me and go to Calgary. Damn you. Sheridan has been in corrections for 12 years. Prior to that, was in the military for 17 years and is now an author of a new book that he's written about his journey, about the trauma and situations that he's been through throughout his careers. The book is called Not Okay, Okay. Welcome, Sheridan. So pumped to have you, dude.
First dude. Wow, I'm stoked.
First guy, and you're popping the cherry of the show. I love it. I'm so proud to have you. I'm so fucking proud of you. I'm so proud of you for having the bravery and the courage to go ahead and be like, I think I'm going to take all of the things that are my deepest, darkest, fears, worries, anxieties. I'm just going to put them in a book and I'm going to go blah to the universe and let everybody fucking read them because it's a message that needs to be shared. And there's people that can heal from what you're saying and from the lessons that you've learned. And I'm massively inspired by you. I love you as a human. I love what you're doing. And yeah, it's just, I've been really excited about this interview for a while now. I've been kind of thinking about it and I know we're going to get into some deep shit. And I just sometimes that's just the best way to do it. So thank you. Thank you for being brave and coming on and telling your story here with us. So tell me about it. Tell me about the book. Tell me about kind of how we got here. Cause I haven't really been with you or worked with you in a couple of years now. I want to say probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So fill me in. What have you been up to?
Okay, well, when I was in Edmonton remand, I was batshit crazy, but I was so crazy I didn't know I was crazy. What's that like, right? So in 2014, I'd been in corrections for not quite 3 years, and I got medical out of the Army, so I was doing a bunch of shit from that because I didn't quit, right? I didn't leave on my own terms. I got basically told, beat it, nerd, you're fucking useless to us now. Thanks for everything. Get lost. It's how it felt. It's not really how it works, but it's how it felt, right? You're no longer of value, beat it. And struggling with the whole idea of being in corrections of my wife.
Different identity, different intensity, right? Different intensity. Yeah. I had another former military guy and somebody had declared imminent danger at the new jail. I don't know. You didn't work at the new remand? Did you? Just old remand?
I did. No,
you did.
I moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody had declared imminent danger. And I was mad at the time and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Imminent danger? What the fuck? And I was talking to this officer and he goes, this fucking person doesn't know imminent danger. Imminent danger is bullets whizzing past your fucking head in Afghanistan. That's fucking imminent danger. And I was like, thank you. Right? Different fucking level of reality, right?
There are brief moments of imminent danger in remand. Oh yeah, 100%. But it's a different thing. It's a different thing. Now, I'm not saying that, Army life is harder or tougher. You gotta be braver or anything, because it's apples and oranges. It's not even apples and oranges. It's fruit and meat products, man. There's total different things. Every day you put your uniform on in the Army, you're preparing for war, and then you go to war, and you come back from war, and you prepare for war. Every day in corrections, you just go to war. Mm-hmm. Right, and it shouldn't be that way. We can get to that later, but that's the mentality we've created for ourselves, and it's nonstop. pressure and stress and danger and fear, and it's non-stop emotional repression and denial, and it's everything you do on a tour for a career.
Mhm.
So the two of them are so different and both yet so horrifically compelling. It's that addictive, that it's my cortisol fix. How do I make my life awful? Oh wait, I know what I can do, right? Like how adrenaline and cortisol. Fucking A, let's do it. Let's add some caffeine to this shit and let's see what happens. Right?
How many monsters can I crush to increase the level of
Right? Let's see. I've had a tin of dip and a pack of smokes. I'm about halfway through my first hour.
Oh God, buddy, I miss you.
Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, right. Awfulness and shit. Yeah, so 2014, my wife of 20 years, her illness, her mental illness, her demons took her. Took her 2 years, but her eating disorder got her and she died. And I lost what little hold on sanity I had. It wasn't very strong to begin with because I'm watching this happen and I didn't know anything about it. Right? I didn't take any positive steps to change things. I just wallowed in my depression. My demons had me and hers had hers, and I don't know, maybe we mixed and matched and shared, but that house was so fucking bad. Yeah, so yeah, she died, and then I started getting rid of everything, right? The plan was at the time, and I remember bits and pieces of that time, not a lot. There's nothing linear about it, right? But bits and pieces. The plan, as I recall, was to get rid of everything I owned, find a home for her dogs, right? And then go to Syria, and because Syria was hot then, right? And I had buddies that were doing dumb shit over there. Go to Syria and kill terrorists until I died. And then Valhalla, fucking perfect. Great plan. Ever try to find a home for 3 fucking dogs?
No, but I've heard it's quite challenging.
So yeah, several months go by, no home for the dogs. I'm getting rid of stuff. Everyone at work no one knows what to do with me, right? Because I'm not grieving and mourning the way you're quote unquote supposed to. Because I was trying to do what tough guys are supposed to do: carry on, put on the mask, do the things for everybody else, show the I'm okay, I'm fine, right? I wasn't okay. I was really not okay at all on any level ever. Like just not. There was nothing resembling okay about any of that. I was fucking batshit crazy. But then again, so was everyone around me, and nobody knew what to do. And I don't blame anybody anymore. I'm not angry at anyone anymore because just nobody knows what to do with grief. No one knows what to do when someone is mourning. No one knows that the best thing to do is just shut the fuck up and sit with them. Yeah. Just sit there and hold their hand and cry with them, and then everything's gonna be like it. Eventually, shit will sort out. But we didn't do that. There was some really bad, ugly shit that happened. But before I could take myself out, which was Plan B, this young woman came over for coffee to check how I was doing. I vaguely knew her a little bit from here and there. She was a sheriff. She was in the pipe and drum band for a bit. Like I sort of knew her. She just popped in for coffee one morning, see how I was doing, and she never left. She took over the life, and because she took over my life, she saved my life. And then now we're still here together. We moved to. She got pregnant. I'm pretty sure I was involved in that.
You fucking hope.
Boy, he looks just fucking like me, so it's probable. Like he's my clone, so I'm thinking I had a hand in the process somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a hand or how effective or whatever, but I was definitely involved in some capacity. And yeah, that's when I okay, I'm from the north, she's from the south, her family's down there. I'm her first like real long-term relationship. Well, she's half my age because a broken, physically and psychologically broken man twice her age is Mr. Perfect, apparently, as it turned out. But all right.
Some of us, we like a challenge.
Oh boy, he's a fucking
guy. Yeah, that guy. I really like him. I know he's fucked up, but I really like him.
As a trainer, like the guy hit by a fucking train. Perfect. I want that guy. Yeah. Oh fuck you chicks, you're crazy. But thank God you are, because I'd be alone, and I'm not good. I can't. I've been domesticated too long. I can't survive in the wild. Do some fucking owl's dinner or something like.
Oh my God.
But so yeah, she got pregnant, and I put in a transfer to Calgary remand. Then once that was approved, and it was immediately like, the chain really took care of me there. Romesh was really, really helpful there.
He's such a
Then,
good dude.
oh, what a sweetheart! And while he's approving it, he's holding you seen that white fucking dog I got, that little fluffy hairy thing,
Yeah.
right? He's holding that and he's petting his dog. He's approving my transfer, right? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't get my fucking dog back for an hour, man. Like,
Yeah. He did the same thing with my kid. My first kid that I had, I was at the hockey tournament and he disappeared with her. And I was like, oh my God, has anybody seen my daughter? Anybody seen my, and they're like, oh yeah, Romish has her. And I was like,
yeah,
what do you mean Romish has her? He's like, oh yeah, holding her hand, walking around the arena, giving her popcorn,
cramming her full of fucking sugar. Yeah, that's Romish. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? He's like, she's fine. Just leave her with me. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Love Romish. He's a doll.
Yeah. So he took care of me there, and then so Danette could put in for a transfer from the sheriff's, and she got moved to Calgary. And yeah, we came down here. And then my son Trace was born in due course, in the usual way.
So when was this? When did you move to Calgary?
2016.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks after he was born, Danette's like, all right, let's go. We're good, I guess.
Sure. Let's move with a 2-week-old. Let's do that.
Yep. So we did. That woman is some kind of hard, man. Like, she has got a raving lunatic for a husband who's completely dysregulated, unable to function. She's got a 2-week-old baby. She's like, yeah, fuck it. We're getting a new house. Let's go. Hey, come on.
Pack up.
What's the holdup? Why are we not in the truck already? What? He is some kind of tough, man. Yeah. So we came down here, and I started a new life. I thought. Then when Trace was born, I entered a whole new level of crazy. I was not in any way, shape, or form ready to dad. I had no idea how to dad. I didn't have great examples and models. My father's not an evil person. My parents are not villains, but they've got fucking their trauma going on because of their parents. They've got like intergenerational trauma. It goes back fucking. We're indigenous on both sides, and we're veterans for 5 fucking generations. Like, we're pouring slough water into a fucking sewer. Like, we're not getting fucking. You don't get avian out of a septic tank. So shit's all messed up. So when my kid was born, I was like, well, obviously I'm fucking him up. I'm gonna make him just like me, so I better kill myself. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. So while I'm in the process, like I'm there, right? This is the place, the time, the thing's gonna happen. I'm gonna take care of this right now, fix it all, everything. There's this voice in the back of my head, right? Going, statistics show that children who grow up without a father do significantly less well throughout their life. Statistics show that the sons of fathers who kill themselves go on to commit suicide early. And it's just as a steady stream of fact. Just this one small, tiny voice, just calmly talking in the screaming voices that rested in my head. Just this tiny little voice, just calmly talking, pointing out that, okay, this is not a great plan. And so I put down the implement of destruction, and I picked up my phone, and I called a woman named Jennifer Primer, Dr. Jennifer Primer, who is a psychologist in the Calgary area, a psychologist who specializes in veterans, first responders, and trauma. A psychologist that I was incredibly rude and mean to. Such a dick to her, which she's never failed to remind me of, by the way. Every fucking phone call, every text now that we've gone through our sessions, she reminds me, oh yeah, by the way, you were a dick. Yeah, I know. And yeah, so that began my journey to mental health and well-being with the help of one of the most sarcastic and wonderful humans on the planet, Dr. Jennifer Primer.
So like you called her and you're just like, this is it. Like I'm like, I'm here. I'm at the
brink.
Kill
myself.
And so what did she say? Like, what was her immediate, like, stop what you're doing? And how did you find out about her?
I'd attended, ironically, a seminar sort of thing being hosted, a conference, whatever, being hosted by Legacy Place for first responders suicidal awareness. A fellow CO named Shane Smith brought this woman over to meet me because we were both doing like peer support stuff without there being like a formal peer support thing at the jail. And he also was as fucking bananas as I was. So that, you know, that works. And he brought her over and introduced her to me, and I was a complete asshole to her. But I kept her card to give to somebody else who might need it later. And then, yeah, fast forward a few weeks, and I'm call up and I go, Jen, I'm not okay. I really need a lot of help. And she said, okay, are you going to kill yourself right now? I said, well, not right now. She's okay, good. Do you have a plan to do it anytime soon? I said, no, not anymore. I was going to do it, but I'm not going to do it now. I need help to get past this. And she's okay. You're going tomorrow. Guess I'm coming to see you. Okay, see you at 9. Okay. Thank you. And then I worked with her for years. And then I also did some group therapy stuff with an agency called the Veterans Transition Network, group stuff with them. I did group stuff with Wounded Warriors Canada. And if there are any first responders out there right now listening, the Wounded Warriors TRP will help you no matter where you are. And if you are the spouse of a first responder, the Wounded Warriors SRP will help you. And if you are, both of you listening to me, motherfuckers, Wounded Warriors Cope right now. Right now. These things will help. They're free. I am a devout believer in these programs. I volunteer for them now. That's what I do. Those things helped save my life eventually for a long period of time. And then over a longer period of time, I began to actually get close to things like ironically, as I began to learn how to be kinder and more compassionate with myself, to stop judging myself as a complete waste and a worthless being with no value. So I began to be more compassionate with myself. I began to be more compassionate with the man I was seeing in the coveralls on the other side of the glass, side of the bars, other side of the steel. And by just the most fortuitous circumstance, I don't know if our listeners have spiritual beliefs. I'm not going to bother you with mine, but everything lined up so incredibly perfectly to keep me alive and help my son and wife heal that I can only believe. I began to believe it, divinity. That's when I began to believe in a divine power.
Yep.
Everything lined up.
Yeah. The universe comes. That's exactly right. Like I same thing. I'm not a believer in organized religion. I'm actually kind of anti that. Without getting into spiritual beliefs, but I do believe that the universe does things to either put things in our path or to guide us. And the amount of time, when I look back over my career, and I actually said this to a friend the other day, when I look back over my career in corrections, the amount of times that the universe told me, hey, fuck face, this is not for you. Like, hello, do you see how much you're struggling? Hello, do you see how hard this is for you? It should not be this hard. There should not be this many obstacles, right? And my stupid mind was like, oh, an obstacle? This means I need to conquer it. I need to be stronger than it. I need to be better than it. I need to be smarter than it. I need to be, like, I'm not going to let this place beat me down. I'm not going to let those guys beat me down. I'm not going to let the, boys club fucking hold me down. I'm going to rise up. Right. And it was the universe being like, hey, maybe this is not for you. And me being like, no, universe, I got this. Right.
Yeah.
Until you get to a point where the universe, and I saw this the other day and I blew my mind. The universe has shaken you to awaken you. And I was like, oh my God, like mind blown, because that's exactly what happened. It got to the point where there was no more conquering. There was no more fighting. I was done. I was so done. I was so tired. I was so exhausted of fighting that finally I was like, maybe this isn't the route for me. Like, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And as soon as I let that thought, a million other things opened up, and the universe was like, here's all these fucking things that I've been trying to show you before that you were not fucking paying attention to, right? Like,
yeah,
and it's like, oh wow, thanks.
Yeah. It's like that look on, like, maybe a mom or a maternal mother figure's face when they go, "I love you so much, but fuck, you're dumb."
Exactly.
You're such a fucking idiot, you sweet thing, you. Yeah. Like
that's exactly it, right? And I just think to myself, like, I mean, I also believe in, and I've said it a couple times in season one, like the cliche of like when one door closes, another one opens, right? Like, and that, if those things hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have learned the lessons that I learned. I wouldn't have had the skill set or grown or had the resilience to keep fighting, even though I felt totally jilted and betrayed, and like, and all those things. So yes, am I happy that shit happened to me? Fuck no. I wish it never had happened, but it happened. And now because of that, I know how to deal with a situation like that. I know that I will no longer allow that level of toxicity in my life. That's a fucking given. I will never, ever let myself get to that point ever again, because I tolerated it for way too long last time. Right. Yeah. So there's things like that I'm like, okay, well, like, thank you for teaching me the lesson. Maybe don't make it hurt so much next time. That would be great. If we could just take the edge off, universe,
well,
that'd be
maybe
wonderful.
If you weren't such a fucking stubborn asshole and listened to me when the first fucking place, it wouldn't have had, I could stop hitting you. Like, I want to stop hitting you.
Oh my God. Totally true.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
You got to get to the point where like your soul is so exhausted. It doesn't matter how medicated your sleep is. You're tired from the moment. Like, it takes every ounce of willpower to put your fucking underwear on.
Yep.
Like, just never mind your pants. And then you got to put socks on.
Yep.
Fuck, come on.
Yep.
And then, now I got it. Like, it's just everything. It just gets everything's impossible. Everything is just so much more work than it should be. Right. And it's like the whole time, like, I used to be so fucking good at this shit. I was a leader of men. Mm-hmm. I was a leader. I was a warrior. I could do stuff. I could build a truck. I could do basic fucking math, and now I can't. Like, yeah. Holy shit. What the hell happened? Yeah, I had to get to that point but anyway, so that I did get to that point. But also, like, I'm looking at these people, these inmates. I began working what's called the TKO program in the Calgary Inmate Center, which is a programs unit sort of thing, where inmates learn to deal with addiction, substance abuse. They learn how proper coping tools based on both like sound psychology and spirituality. They learn how basic cooking skills and anger management and parenting lessons and just basic life skills that inmates don't learn while they become inmates, right?
So they're making something other than apple pie bars out of canteen items? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, other than Shanks.
Other than Shanks and eat more bars. They're going to make something that's actually helpful. I love it.
Yeah. So it was I'm looking together. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you guys literally have the entire world stacked up against you. And here you are struggling to make yourselves into the men you were born to be, not the men you become. What the fuck is my excuse? I have all these things at my beck and call, and I'm not using them, right? So I get this moment, it's like, holy shit. So I started working with them, because I thought at the time that I dealt and recovered and healed from my alcoholism from decades prior. No, I was a dry drunk. I was a drunk. I just wasn't drinking alcohol. I wasn't using drugs and intoxicants to hide from my shit. I was just using sheer willpower to hide from my shit. Yep. What's that like, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway, I started helping them, and I began to help them with addiction. And then we started talking about other things, deeper things, and I began working. I just working with these men, and then that began to change how I saw them, and it changed how I saw. When you stop judging others, you stop judging yourself, right? The more you point a finger at somebody else, like that saying goes, like, there's three pointing back at you, right?
Yep.
So the more we accuse others, the more we judge others, the more we're judging ourselves by comparison, and we don't do it very nicely to ourselves. Mm-mm. I wasn't, for sure. But I began to be kinder, more compassionate, and empathetic with others, and I began to discover that it worked for me too. And so I was discovering this weird and creepy thing called like feelings and emotions.
Yep.
And I had this connection, because I was applying leadership tools and techniques on the unit with inmates, and I was still struggling with how to be a dad. Like, I'd read 7 parenting books by this point, back to back, like cover to cover, to learn how to be a dad, how to stop to being a fucking psycho like I was at home. Right? I was the same raving, screaming lunatic that I grew up with. So, which is what we do, right?
Yep.
I realized that, okay, moron, you can tell your kid whatever you want to tell him. He's going to do what you're doing. So he's going to be who you are. So if you don't want him to be who you are right now, stop being who you are right now, you fucking dolt, and be somebody different. So I began to use basic leadership, model the behavior that I wish my subordinates to exhibit, and they will. So I started trying to be a better human, so my child would be a better human. Every time something would come up, if I could regulate enough to catch it and go, what would I want Trace to do if he were in my shoes right now? How would I want him to behave right now? Okay, do that. Don't do the thing you're going to do, because what you're going to do right now is stupid. Violence is not assault. It's not going to fix this. But take the gloves off, put it back in your pocket, talk. Right? And just carry this whole thing on, and we found the right meds. I agreed, like, finally got myself to understand, okay, if you'll take pain medication for physical pain, and emotions are a physical response in your physical fucking brain, you fucking idiot, maybe you should take some meds for that too. Oh, okay. Thanks. So I did. And we found the right meds. It took a while. There were some ups and some downs, and some real ups and some downs. We found the right meds, and I began to shift. So as I began to get the right meds, I started having less panic attacks, fewer anxiety attacks, which meant because I would make all this progress in therapy, and then I'd have a massive anxiety attack and a reset back to zero. Everything I thought I'd worked on, everything I thought I knew, gone, just fucking erased in one screaming tantrum. I'm a 6 foot tall, 220-pound toddler. My poor wife and my child are living with that. Right? This seething ball of rage. And the thing about rage is, like, there's anger and there's rage, right? And like a friend of mine, Kevin Lutz, says, like, anger is a laser beam, right? You can focus it and you can make it useful, but rage is a grenade. It just blows up.
Yes.
Goes off in all directions. So I was just a walking hand grenade, and I was terrifying to my family, and they're recovering now. There was that. So yeah, the meds, and then more therapy, and more meds, and more therapy, and then my wife, and then I got better. My wife went crazy because I got better, because she could.
Yeah.
Right? She could, like, vicarious trauma. It's a real thing. Like, we all, first responders and vets, everyone's, oh, what a hero because he's struggling or she's struggling. Oh, no one looks at the spouse and goes, holy fuck, they're struggling. Spoiler alert, they are.
And the families, like you said, the families, the like, you're coming home and there's no, like I always say to you, you're a cup that gets filled up, right? And so you get filled up with rage and anxiety and anger and fucking frustration and judgment. And there's only so much that cup can hold. And then the cup starts to overflow, and sometimes it overflows at work. And so for that, you'd overflow on an inmate and just fucking green out and lose your shit on them, right? And then walk away and be like, I don't really know why I fucking lost my mind like that. Like, it wasn't a big deal. He didn't make his bed. Like, you know, like what the fuck, right? And then you kind of catch yourself, or it overflows at home. And like you're saying, same with me, come home fucking screaming at my kids, right? And my kids are just like, holy fuck, like, mom, what's going on, right? And I'm, like you said, a ball of rage that explodes into wherever, and it just fucking hits anybody because I don't have any more coping mechanisms. I have, the cup is so full that there's nowhere else for it to go except to overflow onto the people around me, right? And you see it in their face, and you think to yourself, and you know, like you're saying, you know, the little voice in the back of your head, you know, you're being fucking crazy, but you can't turn it off. Like, it's just coming out of you.
You can't
and
stop
you're like, stop. You're fucking saying awful things to your kids that
just
love
stop
you.
right now. Just stop what you're doing. Stop it.
Totally.
You're not stopping. Stop it. You're not stopping. Please fucking God, stop it.
And you can't. And your kids are just like, okay. And then they learn to cope. With, they can tell when mom comes home how she puts her bag down. Did she have a good day or did she have a bad day, right? And they're on fucking edge and they're looking and they're waiting. Or how does she say, hi girls, right? What's it going to be like tonight with mom at home, right? And then when you start to step back from that as you're healing, and you realize that your kids were already creating coping mechanisms to deal with your fucked upness, it's like, again, it's another level, but then it's also another level, like you said, exactly, like you just had a reaction. oh my God, I'm such an awful person. I'm such an awful mom, or I'm an awful dad, or I'm an awful person. How, like, my job is to take care of these babies, not traumatize them and have them move through their life with the same issues that I had growing up, right? And so you do. But then it's that cycle of like, okay, I'm trying really hard to be better, but like now I'm such an awful person because I did all these bad things. And like, how do I get over that? And
Yeah. I had this moment when, and it came out, I was having this talk on the, I'd have these, they called them dad talks. The inmates did, and then they called them Taylor talks. And they're like, "All right, Taylor talk," and they'd all come out because I would just share, right? And first of all, they never had a male role model share thoughts and feelings from a position of vulnerability and trust before, let alone a pig, let alone a pig with my rep, right?
Yep.
Taylor bangs, right? Taylor don't fuck with him, right?
Yep.
So when you get, and and he's a combat vet, man, like he's fucking like. So when you get that guy coming out and sharing and crying, like crying with inmates, that creates this. First of all, they're like, "What the fuck?" But then that confusion opens them up. And then when I would talk about that, the day after drinking, the day after, that look in her face where she's like saying, "I love you so much, but you make me sick," right? That would get them. Okay, he knows, he gets it, right? So I had this moment where I was on the unit, and we were just talking, and I was like, I didn't kill myself. Okay, I was going to kill myself because I was convinced I was the worst father in the fucking world. I was the worst dad ever. So I had to kill myself to save my child from me. But then I asked myself, have you ever raped your child, Taylor? And I went, no, God, no. Well then, by definition, you're not the worst father ever, because there are some scumbags who do that sort of thing. Do you beat your child at the time? No. Right? Do you do this? Do you do that? Have you ever done this? Does your kid have this? Does you do this for? Okay, so let me ask you this question, Taylor, my boy. If you try as hard as you're trying to be a good dad, then by definition, doesn't that mean you are in fact a good dad? Because if you were a shitty dad, you wouldn't care you were a shitty dad. That's the definition of a shitty dad. To which I replied to myself, don't know what just happened here. And it shook me right to my foundation. And that's when I began to realize that, you know what? You've done some really horrible, awful things behind these doors, because that's what you were told to do by people who are deeply traumatized as you are.
Yeah.
But you're not a bad human being because you did those. You did bad things. It doesn't make you a bad person. You did bad things. And you feel bad about them. You felt bad then. You felt bad now. You've never felt good about any of it because those are bad things. You knew that. It's a moral injury. Your moral code has been broken or violated. You've been injured by these things, but you're not a bad man. You try as hard as you can to help as many people as you can. And you love hard, motherfucker. And that, by definition, makes you a good man. Well, I cried for a while when I realized I'm not the biggest piece of shit that ever walked the face of the earth. And part of that was like identity loss, because that's who I was, right? I was this horrible, awful, evil man, right? And then now I'm not. While all this is going on in this 2-year journey of hell and redemption and hell again and more redemption and just hell. I was putting posts out on various social media platforms to try to remove some of the stigma from the younger officers who had the courage to step forward and say, I'm not okay right now. To try and act like this thing, this sort of this buffer between them and these dinosaurs above them that are totally lost in their trauma and traumatizing these children for having the courage to be not okay. I understand, right? So I put in these social media posts out there. And then I was also involved in a number of letter and email campaigns with people, individuals and larger groups who were dealing with some of the same stuff and explaining the science of why your brain is doing this, what an emotion is, how these things work, how to prevent, and it's all based on sound scientific principles. I've researched all of them. None of them are cited in the book because I want every reader to doubt me. Don't believe what I'm putting out there. I want them all to look up for themselves so that they will know that what they're reading is true. I'm like social media posts about my struggles and my wins and loses for the sake of readers anywhere, really, honestly. And then papers with like assigned psychological fact. And I'm writing also these emails to my sons. Now I have 2 at that point. For them to read when they're older, about how to not be bananas like daddy and how to live the life that they deserve to live, to become the man they were born to become. And then I realized at one point that all these three streams kind of mesh and work together. And it's the same lessons being taught over and over again in different forms, different versions, but it's all the same lesson. And I realized it's exactly what somebody with trauma, with anxiety, with depression, with PTSD, with substance abuse problems, with ADHD needs to have as a resource, because it was written by a dude with all that shit going on.
Yep.
Right? Because when we're lost in trauma, we can't concentrate, we can't remember, we can't focus. Right? I couldn't read a book. I could read a magazine article if it had lots of pictures.
Yeah.
I couldn't, right? I couldn't get past that. But this, like, it's, I forget how many chapters are in it, but not really chapters. They're like 2 pages max, double spaced. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Of just, hey, here's some feelings, read them, sit in them, experience them, let them come out. And when they want to go, okay, now they're going to go away. Okay, because now 2 pages, we're done. Put the book down. Put the book down now and go, just go do a thing. And it'll be back, and then you come back and you read another one, and it's a couple pages long. It's easily digestible. And I've had this comment from other people who've read the book. I'm getting messages back saying, like, it was so easy to read. I hate reading. I know. I hate writing, but I did it. And my wife went and did this fancy course on how, like, our instruction methodology in law enforcement and the paramilitary and law and military, like the whole security field, our teaching methodology is all backwards, inside out, and upside down and wrong. Like everything else we do.
Yeah.
The whole fucking field is upside down, inside out, and backwards. But
yeah.
So she goes, do you know what your book is? It's interleaved. I went, I know. What? Yeah, that's why I did it that way. You asshole. I know stuff. And my name is Sheridan Taylor. I drink coffee. I know stuff. That's how that works.
I love it. That's so funny.
The book, man. It's not the original version that I wanted, publishers. But if I can get enough of this one out there, this one has all the feels in it. That's what this one is. This one's all the feels. It's all the stuff I talk about, flashbacks, what it's like to have one, anxiety attacks, and grief and sorrow and loss, and how I dealt with it. And if I dealt with it that way, it's probably a good way for you to try yourself, because, well, we're all humans and we're all wired the same way. You know, once you get past the cultural programming, whatever that might look like, you know, underneath it all, we all have the same anatomy. We all have the same response to fear. We all go, ah, right? We all have the same response to loss. We all feel the same things we feel in our body. And then we call them emotions. And we apply them to the context outside of our body. But we all need, physically, psychologically, as a mammalian species, we need connection. And the illness, whatever name you want to put on it, the illness tries to make us isolate. It makes us pull away from everyone. It makes us push everyone away. And it makes us lie to ourselves, they're leaving us because we don't deserve them. We tell ourselves we're not receiving love because we're unworthy of love. If any of you motherfuckers are there right now believe that shit, you're lying to yourself. Stop it. I don't care who you are. I don't give a shit what's going on in your life right now. You're lying. You're a liar. You are 100% deserving of love. Why? Here's why. Because I know. I don't know who the hell you are. I don't have to know who you are. I know you have one, at least, person in your life you love so hard you'll burn the fucking earth to the ashes for them. You'll die for them. If you love that hard, deserve to be loved right back. That's just how that works. That's the deal you've made. You didn't know you were making it, but you did. So fucking shut up. That's what's happening. You love, so you deserve love.
So this is your kind of big struggle essentially is 2016 to 2018 is where that 2 years of, and yeah. I want to just touch on that because I think there's a stigma around, there's a stigma around getting help, first of all, which is, you know, we're working really hard to break that down. I think there's definitely a lot more awareness around, like, not okay, that's okay. It's okay to ask for help, right? And so I love that that's the title of the book too. But I think the other stigma is that, well, you just go to 6 therapy sessions and then you're going to be cured. Yeah. Like, you'll be good to go. Just go see the therapist 6 times because that's all your benefits allow. And if you're lucky, if you have really good fucking benefits, right? And then you'll be cured. And if you just get on like just the first set of meds that somebody gives you, you just got to take those and you're going to be good. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm really like not happy because obviously it was a fucking shit time for you, but I'm happy that you're explaining it, that, you know, it isn't, yep, 6 sessions and I'm cured and I'm good to go. And yep, the first set of meds that I took, I was fucking good to go. And maybe for somebody it is. Maybe the first set of meds is what they need. That's what their brain chemistry is and that's what they need. But that it's a process and it's gonna take time. Like it's a lengthy process. It's not just you're not gonna be amazingly better in 3 weeks or 6 weeks. Or 6 months, right?
How long did it take you to get to the point you're at where you're so lost? Like you worked really hard for a long time to be that miserable. Mm-hmm. So it's going to take not as long, but it's going to take time and work to get better, to get to a place where you're not miserable all the time. And you know what? Sorry to tell you this, but you're going to have some bad days.
Yeah.
I had a bad day yesterday. I had a really, really bad day yesterday. Right? It's been a long time since I had one that bad. That's just how it's gonna be. Like if you're gonna have bad days. But here's another thing too. I would mess with myself because I would get this idea that I'm having a bad day. Well, that means everything's gonna be bad again. Everything's shit again, right? No. You're having a bad day. You woke up and you spilled your coffee, and then you tripped over the dog and you feel bad because she's old. And then the kid came down and he was yelling because you don't know. And this stuff happens. So you began to have a crappy day, but you can decide to keep having a crappy day or not, right? You're not trapped in hell because you spilled your coffee. Yeah, I would mess with myself. I'm having a bad day. Oh, well, like shit all over again. Here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, and because that was the response before, right? That's you slip automatically back into your old coping mechanisms and your old processes and your old ways of doing things. Yeah. And it's a consistent relearning of and a reprogramming of your brain of how, okay, so this happened. And I love that you use the word choose, because that for me was a big turning point. And that for me was when I started doing yoga, kind of really focusing in on, no, it's a choice. Every day you make a million choices. You make a choice about what time you're going to get up, how you're going to get up. Are you going to wash your hair this morning or not? No, what clothes are you going to wear, right? Like there's all these choices that you make. And along the way, there's things like, oh, I fucking spilled my coffee. Am I going to let that fuck the rest of my day up? Am I going to be pissy pants about it? Oh, somebody cut me off in traffic. Am I going to be real fucking mad about it and rage the rest of the drive? In my case, usually yes, even though I'm working on that, right?
Driving.
But you know, am I going to then let that filter into the rest of my day? Or can I make a choice to just be like, fuck it, let's turn the music up, let's ignore the idiots, and let's just drive to work, right? So the fact that you're saying choice, I love hearing that, because I think that's a big thing too. People forget you have a choice to decide how you want to react to that situation or not react to that situation, or how you're going to deal with the situation or not deal with the situation. Where are you going to put your energy? That is your choice. Are you going to pour energy into this, or are you just going to let that fucking shit go because it doesn't actually mean anything, right? So I like that. So when do you so you kind of are writing this stuff down? Is this as you're going through kind of your 2 years of hell you're writing this, or have you kind of gotten to a stage around like 2018 where you're feeling a little bit more well and you're starting to be like, I think I can like share some of this with people. Like I've learned a fuckload and I want to start sharing that. And is that kind of when that book started to take off for you? Like around that kind of 2018?
Yeah, I was writing before that, but I didn't put any of that in the book, and I've deleted most of it anyway because a lot of it was just the ravings of a crazy person. Well written in some cases, but insane, just fucking bananas. But no, around 2000, late 2018 or 2019, I was like, okay, that stuff, we'll keep that. We'll hang on to that, and then start adding this stuff in it. So in January 28th of 2021, I walked up the job. I just fucking walked out and I didn't come back. I can go back right now and been off work. I'm trying to find other kinds of work, but WCB and stuff and things and fighting and whatever. I'm just no time. So over a period of about 2 months while I've been off, I forget how I was looking at everything, but it kind of all went, that fits in there. And that fits, that part works with that. And then, well, son of a bitch, I've got a book. Didn't that, he keeps saying I should write a book. I wrote a book. Good. Publish it. Okay. So I did. Oh man, she is my fiercest advocate, man. She is my rock and my shield and my nagging kick in the ass. That's what she's my everything. So we put a book together. I shopped around and I went with Scribe. They're a self-publishing company, but they're the ones that like Brene Brown used and David Goggins and Jocko Willink and all these big names. So even if I'm not going to get rich off it, but I'm going to reach the people that need to be reached. Yeah. We're going to do this. We're going to help the people that the biggest thing people need, like it's like the connection. Right? People just need to know that they're not alone. It's not just them. It's not only you. It's everybody. Mm-hmm. Right. And that like the brain is super lazy. So it keeps trying to use the same old patterns. It will always try to until, like you said, you make a choice to stop making that pattern happen. Right. I don't know. Late 2021? Yeah, late 2021. I can't remember exactly what month we started. I reached out. I was like, hey, what do you guys think? And they went, love this.
Yes.
Let's publish this. Here's your team. And they gave me this amazing team of individuals who just knocked it out of the park. The title was not my title. My title is going to be like, shit you need to know. Yeah. But apparently vulgarity messes up Amazon's algorithm. So it wouldn't have made right. And like the second book would be like, welcome to Emotion Town, motherfucker. But probably not. They said no, probably not. We won't use that either. We'll get a specialist. So they did. Yeah. For the cover and the editing and now it's out. So now it's about trying to get it in the hands of the people it will do the most good for. We're Dustin Yordega.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diego read it and he put a review out. And he's like, so this book is for anybody who's ever suffered with mental illness or trauma or knows anyone who has, and that's everybody. So read the book.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love it. Yeah. Well, and for our listeners, I'm going to have a copy and we're going to be doing either a giveaway of the book or a raffle, see if we can raise some money for Legacy Place or Wounded Warriors, because I am a huge supporter and advocate for them as well. The work they do is absolutely amazing. So there'll definitely be a chance to get one in your hands. But you're saying it's on Amazon, so we can get it on Amazon?
Yeah. Amazon, all the major book selling platforms, but the one I only know Amazon. That's the one I know. So,
Amazon. And then you can prime it and it'll be in your hands ASAP when you need it. Yes. Yeah. I love it. I like I said, I'm just like hearing you talk about this, hearing your like it come to fruition and just having that idea that was kind of always there of like, like even just, and again, we'll go back to the universe pushing you in a direction, right? Just to write shit down, even when it was batshit crazy, even when it was like fucking crazy ramblings of a lunatic, right? Write it down. Yes, right? But I mean, like, that's awesome because even then, going back and reading that and realizing, holy fuck, how unwell you were, right? And and at the time, you didn't think you were unwell. You just thought you were like, yeah, I'm okay.
I'm okay. The world, you're all fucked up. I'm the one who's like, you're all okay. Here's a clue. If everybody else is crazy, you're the only sane person.
Chances are. You gotta flip-flop that. Yeah. But like the fact that like again, even back then you were writing, and then as you're moving through your journey, you're writing and you're putting things down, and and then like again, like your social media posts, like that to me, I started seeing some of those and being like, holy fuck, like he's laying it bare, like he is putting like heart and soul out here, where people can decimate you on social media. They can say whatever the fuck they want in those comments, right? And that you had the bravery to start putting that stuff out there. And again, not as a pity me, not as a, oh, woe is me, as a like, hey, I'm fucking going through this. And like, I know, especially in the circle of friends that you have on there, because we're all from work or, from facets of your life that are traumatized people, that I know somebody else is going through this. And so if they read it and something resonates, and there was at least 3 of your posts that I was like, oh, is he looking at me? Like, did he write this? And was he like, hey, Nikki, I'm talking about you? Because like, I was like, yes, as I was reading through it. Right. So like the fact that you did that, and then it all comes together and this book comes out, and it's, you know, like it's available for people in need that are looking for, you know, strategies, or even just somebody that knows what the fuck they're going through. Because I think that's the other side of things. There's a ton of books out there. There's a ton of fucking books out there about how to help yourself and move through trauma and things like that. But they're usually written by a psychologist, or they're written by somebody who has never actually lived the life, or has no fucking clue what it's actually really like to be in the shit of the shit, right? And so the fact that it's coming from you, who, you know, has been through this stuff and is willing to be brave and share and bare your soul and your heart, like, I mean, that to me, that alone resonates more than any, you know, it doesn't matter how many accolades or how many degrees or how much education you have. I would rather hear it straight from somebody who's been through the shit than hear it from somebody who's talking in a theoretical sense of, well, and then there's this strategy when you start to feel this, right? So, I mean, like I said, I'm so fucking excited for you. I'm so pumped for you. I'm so proud. I'm so fucking proud of you. Like, I hope that you feel it. I hope you feel your bravery and your courage and your ability to bear it all is the most inspiring thing ever. Like, I'm fucking lit on fire by you. So thank you. Thank you for doing it. I love it. I know we're pressed for time, so I want to wrap up with you because I don't want to take up your whole day, because you have, you know, very important things to do, like book signings and, you know, interviews and going to be a famous person. But I do want to.
Could you fucking imagine me walking out somewhere like all covered in fucking tough guy tats with my shitty giant ass belt buckle? Oh man, it'd be hilarious.
It would be authentic, and it would be you, Sheridan. It would be you. That's all that matters, buddy. Okay, so usually I wrap up with a couple rapid fire questions. So okay. I'm going to alter them slightly for you. While you were writing your book and while you were putting it all together, what was your favorite thing to snack on while you were doing the work?
Chocolate covered almonds.
Oh yeah. Delicious. Yes. I love it. That's why chocolate covered almonds.
It reminds me of my grandma.
Oh my God. I love it. My grandma always had those little white Scotch mints.
Those too, yes, but
yeah. Anytime I see them, I'm like, "Hi, Grandma!" whack one of those in my mouth. That's awesome. Okay, what would you give as a piece of advice to someone that's looking to get into a first responder career? So that could be military, corrections, police, anything like that.
Learn everything you can about emotions, emotional regulation, what they actually are, understand what trauma is so you can inoculate yourself from PTSD. You can vaccinate yourself from it. Do that, because chances are if you're going into this field, it's because you crave cortisol, because you got some shit going on somewhere back in your fucking history. So learn about all that stuff before it does what it did to me.
Fantastic piece of advice. Okay, and last question for you. What was the coolest thing about writing a book? Like what was a cool piece? What was the most fun part about doing it?
The entire book, however 60 some thousand words, is a love letter to my wife and my children, and it will stand forever.
I love that. Like,
my great grandchildren will read about their fucking lunatic great grandpa and how much he loved their great grandma and their great grandpas.
That is like, yes, like, mic drop. Thank you, because that is amazing. I have yet to meet your wife, but I feel like we are like kindred spirits, because I love that she is just like, tough shit, get going, get up, fuck you, we're going, this is happening. Right? It sounds like my type of woman. The shout out to her, right? To her and to your sons for, you know, being the people that kind of kept you here and kept you going and kept you grounded when you needed to be grounded, right? Because without people like that, without our tribe, without those people around us who can pull you back from the brink, it's very easy to get lost in the chaos and the screaming and the noise in your head without having those people. So anything else you want to throw at our listeners before we sign off for today?
Nah, just a reminder that somebody somewhere loves the shit out of you. It might even be me.
That's awesome, buddy. That's awesome. I love it. Well, you have an amazing rest of your day. Take care of yourself. Stay out of trouble. Love on those babies. Love on that wife.
Yes.
And we'll hopefully see each other again in the future in person again soon. I would love to see your face again and catch up because I miss your energy and your craziness. Love it.
I'm gonna have a book signing up there sometime in the next couple of months. We're gonna have like coffee and chocolate covered coffee beans. That's what we're gonna do.
I love it. I'm in 100%.
Well, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for listening, tuning in, and sharing your time and energy with us. Make sure you check out our next episode starring another badass female first responder on Apple, Spotify, or TuneIn. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Blue Line Fitness Testing. Stay safe and keep your head on a swivel.